Morning. Good morning. Today, I want to talk about what are the benefits of becoming a play therapist. And my dog just walked in my room. So, if you hear any weird noises, it's my dog being a knucklehead in the background. So, it is International Play Therapy Week. And so, in honor of International Play Therapy Week, I thought I would talk about what are the benefits of being a play therapist. So, it's also Children's Mental Health Week, International Play Therapy Week. And um, I think that's one of the things as play therapists that's really important to us is really having an effective way of helping children overcome some of their mental health challenges. So I don't know if some of you may be following me. You may have seen some of my posts. I have the APT dude that I have been kind of posting with. If you're not familiar with the APT dude, APT is the Association for Play Therapy here in the United States. And this is the logo for the Association for Play Therapy. Um, I got that like probably 10 years ago. And one of the things I know we used to do way back then was take pictures with where's the dude? So I thought it would be fun this week to do a where's the dude and how the dude is helping me behind the scenes get things done in honor of International Play Therapy Week. So, if you're here today, I would love to see who's here. If post your name in the comments, where you're from, what population you work with, and I would love to know um, which kind of camp that you fall into. Are you in the category of mental health professionals who thought when you were going through graduate school and thinking about becoming a therapist, where you're like, I don't really want to work with kids. I don't know anything about kids. So I'm not really interested. And then somewhere along the line, you, for one reason or another, you started working with kids and you realized, oh my goodness, I really like working with kids. So I would really like to know more about how to work with kids. Or somebody who's more like myself, I always wanted to work with kids. I can remember being a little girl and I would read all the books about kids who needed help and kids who were experiencing challenges. I mean, from the time I was a little girl all the way through high school, got my bachelor's degree in special ed here in the United States, working with children who had emotional problems. And then that's actually where I was introduced to play therapy by our school social worker and school psychologist. This was back in the mid 80s. And was introduced to play therapy and realized, oh my goodness, I would way rather do this than teach. And so went back and got my master's degree. So which camp do you tend to fall in? Or were you one of those professionals who thought, I don't really want to work with kids. I want to work with adults. And then somewhere along the line, you started working with kids and realized, oh my goodness, I want to do this. Or somebody who always knew you wanted to work with kids. So, Dragonfly Play Therapy said, based in West Sussex, nearly qualified, work with 5 to 11 years old. And I've always worked with children and wanted to work therapeutically for years and feel so lucky. I totally agree. Dragonfly Play Therapy. What a great name for a play therapy practice. I totally agree. I've always felt that way too. And which is funny because I thought everybody kind of knew what they wanted to do when they were younger. And I realized, that was kind of a cool thing that I got to experience. I didn't really have to kind of meander through a bunch of different ideas of what I wanted to do. So that is really cool. So if you are watching me live, go ahead and post your name in the comments. I go live every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific time here in the United States. And I talk about all things play therapy and expressive arts. I go live on my Instagram channel and LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, in my Facebook group, and YouTube. I use StreamYard to live stream into those platforms. So if you comment, you may get asked if to give StreamYard permission. The only thing that means is it just lets me see your name. It allows me to see who is posting. So, oh, my phone is talking. I mean, my Apple Watch is talking to me. Okay, so let's get started. So, what are the benefits? So, Dragonfly Play Therapy. I'm guessing you're already. It sounds like you're nearly qualified. So you've already started that investment of becoming a play therapy, is what it sounds like. And I'd be curious for you, what do you find the benefits of that? Or if you're watching and you've already become a play therapist, or you're in the process of becoming a play therapist, what are the benefits that you have found in that process? Because it is an investment of time and money. And after you've already gone through graduate school, kind of thinking about, oh my goodness, I have to do this again. It's kind of a more of an investment in that. And I would definitely say it is worth it. And that's what I want to talk about today. What are the benefits? Why is it worth it if you're going to invest that time and money? And because here's one of the things that I hear, and I think in the mental health field, it's important to think about scope of practice, think about competencies. So competency is how you've been trained and and supervised or gotten consultation. So we use I don't know about outside the US, we use consultation and supervision kind of interchangeably. Mostly we use supervision. Supervision is more for if you are not yet licensed, and consultation is more if you've gotten licensed or you're not getting supervision for your licensing. So those are kind of used interchangeably. Most of the time, I think we use the term supervision. What we mean is consultation. So what are those benefits? So if you're watching on the replay, go ahead, post what do you find to be some of the benefits of being a play therapist? So first and foremost, why do we need to have specialized mental health services for children? I think that's one of the main things we have to think about. If you're working with children and adolescents, I definitely think this is something you need to think about is if you're working with children and adolescents, why do we need to get specialized training and consultation? Because one of the things that I've heard over and over throughout the last 20 years in play therapy specifically is like, I'm good with kids. I can get them to talk. And when I talk to them a little bit more, I'll hear things like, yeah, they don't usually like to talk that much sometimes. It's kind of hard. And I find they're usually looking at their, clock or asking me what time it is to find out when the session is going to be over. So I'll only meet with them for maybe 30 minutes, or I'll only meet with them like every other week because, they don't really want to open up that much, or I hear some version of that. And when I hear that, one of the things that I think about is, okay, they have not gotten the specialized training and they don't understand the benefit of getting that specialized training. And if you're going to be working with children and adolescents, I'm a firm believer you need to have specialized training because children, even adolescents, have different developmental needs in the treatment process than adults. And sometimes what I find happens is therapists will use more of an adult model with children. And nowadays we hear so much since the pandemic. We've heard so much about children's mental health issues and that they're struggling. For me, it just kind of highlights we really need to be thinking about what are the most effective ways to help children overcome their mental health problems. And if we're going to do that, that means we need specialized training, because most of what you get in your graduate school program for social work or counseling or marriage and family therapy or maybe psychologists, clinical psychologists, you don't really get much about children's mental health and how to use a developmentally appropriate model with children. And so what that means is after graduate school, or maybe you were lucky in graduate school to get a placement that taught you how to do that, which is awesome. But maybe you didn't, and you got out of graduate school and you didn't really have any specialized training. So investing in your professional development is one of the core things that we do as mental health professionals. We're lifelong learners. So Dragonfly Play Therapy said, I love that I can provide a less verbal space to connect. Absolutely. And so when I hear mental health professionals say things like, I just meet every other week, or yeah, I just shorten the sessions because they don't really last long in there. It's hard for them to talk. That says to me they don't really have a specialized model, because here's what play therapists say when we're struggling. It's a much different conversation. Play therapists will say things like this. They'll say, I don't know how to recognize those themes, or I'm not sure what's going on in their play. I kind of need some help figuring that out. Or, we're learning different theoretical models and we're trying to learn how to apply that theoretical model. Like when I was learning child-centered play therapy years and years ago, I remember thinking, I'll never get this tracking thing down. By the time I figure out what to say, the child has moved on to something different. And so it just felt like forever before I'd figure out how to get that tracking down pat. And I just kept plugging away until I got it right. So if you're getting the specialized training, you have different struggles. You say it differently. You have a different focus than mental health professionals who are not using necessarily a specialized model. And to me, that's one of the main things to think about is, and come to realize, children do need specialized treatment. They need a specialized approach, which is why, my opinion, play therapy has become one of the go-to models. When you think about providing counseling to children, typically the first thing mental health professionals think about is play therapy. And understanding there's a difference between play therapy and pulling out games and toys and art supplies in the session. Those are two different things. A play therapist is going to be trained how to use a theoretical model to help their client access the therapeutic powers of play. And they're going to be developing some core competencies in play therapy for that specialized training. And so that brings me to my second point, which is, what are the benefits? Well, the benefit is becoming an expert in your community, helping children heal. So maybe you don't necessarily, your goal isn't to be the expert, known to be the expert in the community. That being said, what that does is it provides you with the ability to get really good results. if you ask any mental health professional why they get into counseling or why they get into mental health, what they'll usually say to you is, because I want to help people. I want to make a difference. And that's the thing. If you want to make a difference in the lives of children and have that early intervention with children to help them with their mental health challenges when they're young, rather than waiting until they're adults, and maybe even middle-aged, if you want to have that earlier intervention, then that means learning those specialized theoretical models and competencies is going to help you make more of a difference in the lives of children. You're going to be more effective. You're going to get really good results because you're applying a theoretical model to help them access those therapeutic powers of play, and you're developing your skills in the core competencies of play therapy. And if you're interested in learning more about those core competencies, I talked about those for the last couple of weeks. I've talked about some of the things around play therapy and core competencies. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can hop over to my YouTube channel, which is Kathy Spooner Renewing Hearts Consulting. And if you go in the live tab, you'll see all of my previous replays where I talk about anything and everything about play therapy. If you're in my Facebook group, which is called Play and Expressive Arts Therapy, and that's a Facebook group for child and adolescent therapists using play therapy and expressive arts. So if you're interested in that group, you can hop over to that group. You do have to answer the questions, all of the questions, in order to be admitted into the group. But if you're in my group and you're watching this, then you can go into the featured section. I pin them all in the featured section. So becoming an expert using a specialized model helps you get really good results, and you feel more confident. And that's one of the other benefits of becoming a play therapist. I remember years and years ago, I mentioned that I was introduced to play therapy back in the 1980s when I was a special education teacher, and I was co-facilitating a play therapy group with the school psychologist. And I saw such a difference in the kids and their relationship with me. And then I realized, oh, this therapy thing I like this way better than the teaching thing. And I can still make a difference. And I can make the difference that I really want to make with children. So I went back to graduate school. So this was in 1990. There was really I had one class on children's mental health issues. It really didn't teach much other than kind of what to look for diagnostically, but that was pretty much it. And then in my field practicums, it was all adult oriented, even though it was working with adolescents and their families. It wasn't really geared developmentally to the adolescents. It was a great experience, though. I loved my experience there. Yeah. And then when I got my first job, nobody knew how to do this play therapy thing. I knew it existed because I had seen it. And they had a playroom. And so I would ask my supervisors, and they didn't really know how to do it, but they're like, hey, go for it and just do your best, which I did. And to be honest, it was horrible. I felt horrible because I didn't know what I was doing. And I couldn't get them to talk, but I had some clients where looking back on it now, I'm like, oh, that's the theme. Dang it, I wish I had known that. So I would try and get them to talk, and I would do these directive activities because that's all I could find out. And my confidence level was horrible. And then fast forward a few years where I finally got some training. This is way back before the internet. Got some training, and I went to some play therapy specific trainings. I had a play therapist supervisor who helped me take those trainings and apply them for my specific clients. such a difference in my confidence level, such a difference in my ability to feel like I was making a difference. And I've been supervising people for the last 15 years. And that's one of the things that I hear over and over and over and over is I feel a lot more confident because I mean, early on, we all struggle because we're trying to apply this theoretical model. The difference is, you have a theoretical model that's grounded in theory, dictates how you apply the therapeutic powers of play. You're learning those core competencies. It's a different type of nervousness than when you're just muddling along and you don't know what you're doing. You have much more confidence that you're making a difference. You can explain what play therapy is. You can um, you can use the skills that you're learning. You can see how it does make a difference for children in working through some of their, well, not some, all of their challenges, the reason that they're coming to you for therapy. So, Facebook user says, I find myself confused where to focus my energy, which theoretical approach to learn, and find myself feeling scattered. You know what? My confidence is horrible too. Yes. And here's the thing, Facebook user. So you must be in my group. I'll go back in my group later and probably comment a little bit more. Um, and here's the thing, we all feel that way in the beginning. To me, that's why having a play therapy supervisor. So, for example, I've been doing play therapy supervision for probably 15 years now. Right now, I have an online supervision program. I just kind of revamped everything and launched it as Play Therapy Academy this month in February. And here's what we do in Play Therapy Academy. We have a group meeting where it's myself and other play therapists learning. We staff cases. We talk about your theoretical model. We talk about what to do to help you develop those skills. Also in the Play Therapy Academy are going to be some trainings, foundational trainings. The first one in there is Foundations in Play Therapy, which if you're not in Play Therapy Academy because you're getting supervision elsewhere, but you need that training, you can purchase that outside of Play Therapy Academy. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. I'll talk a little bit more about Play Therapy Academy if you're interested as well. But here's why I mentioned that. Because everyone in the beginning feels that way, Facebook user. We all feel that way. I felt that way. Getting the mentoring or supervision, your supervisor is going to help you learn how to apply those skills. Facebook user says, I'm interested. Good. We have such an awesome group. I have one group that's full. I'm starting a second cohort. So I'm just going to have two. When the second one maxes out, I'll have a waiting list from there. So I am opening up the second one, and I'll chat with you in the Facebook group. But that's where you, like, I'm 30 years of mental health experience, 20 of which is in play therapy. My superpower is you can say something, I can narrow it down. We can hone in, because that's what I find when people are really new in the process. You're kind of like, oh, what do I do? There's so many things. Part of that is that clinical decision making, case conceptualization, and clinical decision making. These are core competencies for mental health professionals. They're core competencies for play therapists as well. In fact, in my foundational training series that I have, that I'm focusing on in 2023, it's going to be a series of online trainings. They're self-paced. The one that is going to be coming out in March that I'm working on now actually is getting grounded in play therapy case conceptualization. So how do you take all of that information that you've gathered and how do you make sense of it to figure out where you need to target for your for your interventions, what theoretical model, and then your decision making through the treatment process. These are core skills and that are important to learn. And to me, when you're investing the time and the money to get the training and get the consultation, then your confidence level most definitely goes up. I see that time and time again in my supervision groups, people that I've worked with over the last 15 years. I saw it in myself, just the confidence level and your ability to feel like you're making a difference and also get excellent results for your clients. So those are definitely the benefits of becoming a play therapist, investing time and money to getting that specialized training. I would say most specifically, the benefit of getting that specialized training and getting that supervision or consultation is that you know that you're making a difference. You know that what you're doing is actually getting really good results because you are using a model that is developmentally geared towards the population that you're working with. You're not using an adult model with children and hoping to get the same results. Sometimes you do. Like if you get some really bright, articulate, motivated kids, they will get it done. But it's harder for them. And I've seen this over and over. It is harder for them to do that traditional talk therapy. Unless you, every once in a while in play therapy, I get a child who doesn't want to play, they want to chat. And if that's the case, then we chat and we talk. But even when that's the case, there's still a different kind of flavor to the session. And I can always pull in some of the play therapy models to help facilitate that talking in order to support them through that process because they're still children cognitively, socially, and emotionally. They are not adults, they are developing. So even the ones who will do the talking, I still find that they need some of that play therapy components to the process throughout the treatment process. So that is it for today. I just want to do a little recap. First and foremost, why do we need specialized care for children's mental health treatment? Because they're developmentally not adults. They need specialized care because their social, emotional, physical, and cognitive development. I mean, think of the difference between a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old child, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old child. There's so much growth that goes on through their development. So being able to use a model that's helps them right where they are developmentally is going to make a huge difference for children. The benefit of that, the benefit of getting that specialized care or specialized training and consultation, supervision, is that you are going to be able to make more of a difference. Becoming the expert in your community. Here's what that means. What that means is you can get more results for your clients. You can get better results. You can make more of a difference in their lives. You can facilitate that change process much more effectively so you make more of a difference. So then what ends up happening is then you become the go-to person in your community. And maybe sometimes that might feel overwhelming because I know a lot of the therapists are feeling a little overwhelmed by the amount of people coming in for help. At the same time, though, if you're the go-to expert, you know that you're making a difference in your community. And I'm a firm believer that a strong families create strong communities. And so helping children and their families overcome their challenges creates a stronger community. And then finally, the third benefit, the other benefit of becoming a play therapist with specialized training is your confidence level. I mean, that's part of the training process, part of the supervisory and consultation process is helping you develop your confidence because you're able to kind of take all of the information that feels scattered and overwhelming and pull that together and come up with a plan. In the training, you're going to learn theoretical models, you're going to learn strategies, you're going to learn skills. And in that consultation process, that's where you're learning how to apply that. And for me, with 30 years of experience in children's mental health, child, adolescent, and family counseling, I mean, I can kind of take all of that and boom, 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 boom. Here's what you need to look for. Have you considered this? What are your thoughts about this? How are parents involved? What does that look like? What kind of treatment approach might you be looking for? What would that look like applying it? So that's part of where the confidence comes when you are in the training phase of treatment. I mean, in the training phase of learning, my mouth will work. So that's it for today. I did want to tell you a little bit about it's called a Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Excellence series. So the series is every other month-ish and 6 weeks. I'm going to be launching or putting out, making available, however you want to say it, a new play therapy course. So the courses are all foundational skills to help you get a really, really, really good grounded. The reason I came up with these trainings is because when I was doing consultation and in my other trainings that I've been doing, I hear these questions over and over and over. And so I thought, well, there's a real need for these, and I don't really see them anywhere. So this is kind of my superpower. So I'll just do some trainings. And they're online and self-paced. So what that means is you purchase the course and you can take it at your own pace. You can take it in your own time zone. There will be modules that you complete with video recorded trainings and then different activities that you do. You can earn play therapy CEs, continuing education hours for the Association for Play Therapy. These would be non-contact, non-live webinar trainings. So I already have one of those trainings out. It's called Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Foundations. If you're interested in that, you can go to my website, which is RRH Counseling. If you so the web rrhcounseling.com/courses. So if you're interested in that, you can go and see the Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Foundations. That one's already available. The one that I have coming out that'll be available in early March is Getting Grounded in play therapy case conceptualization. So how do you take all of that information that you've gathered? What kind of information do you gather? Why do you need to gather that information? Why can't you just skip that part? How do you take all of that information and then use it to formulate your case understanding and then that decision-making process through the treatment process? And then after that will be treatment plans, play therapy treatment plans. I get asked that one a lot. Writing play, and after that, it'll be play therapy progress notes. That's another question I get asked a lot in the trainings that I do, the live webinar and in-person trainings. And then I'll also do have a training on working with parents and how to get parents much more active, which I think is a huge need when we're working with children. So if you're interested in the first training that I have in that series, Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Foundations, you can hop over there to my website. If you're interested in Play Therapy Academy is the twice a month online play therapy consultation group. And also in the Play Therapy Academy are going to be all of these courses, all of these getting grounded in play therapy excellence. So if you're in Play Therapy Academy, they'll be in there. If you're not in Play Therapy Academy, you can still get those. All right. So I will see you next week, same time, 7 a.m. Pacific time here in the US, and whatever time that is in your community. Oh, Faucet Therapy says, hi, Kathy. Great content around play therapy. Thank you. I'd love to link with you. Yeah, message me because I think we're connected on LinkedIn. Marcia, go ahead and send me a DM. And I think you're in my Facebook group too. So you can always message me through my Facebook group or on LinkedIn, whichever one works better for you. Let's connect. All right. I will see you guys next week.